Peace and power, beautiful souls. Hi, it's a girl Big Ma, and this is a Big Ma experience where we glow, flow, and grow together. Welcome to the Big Ma experience. Is this your first time tuning in? Make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the notification so that you always know when I post. Hi, as I said, my name is Big Ma. I'm your host on this channel where we talk about everything self-growth, spirituality, and life experiences that have formed and shaped us until today. And as you can tell from the title, I'm going to be talking about love. Well, I know some of you will probably want to tune up because you're like, what do I want to hear about love? Love is boring. Well, we're talking about self-love, and this is a different type of insight to it because I'm going to be coming from my own personal experiences and how I went from seeking love and validation outside of me to finally finding it inside. And these are things that I was not told. I had to learn on my own. So you're lucky I'm giving you this expo. Okay, so stick around and let's have a good time. All right then. Now we're going to take this back a little bit. So growing up for me, actually if you grew up in the 90s, 80s, if you're a millennial, you know we grew up on all this fairy tale type, Cinderella type shit where they're talking to us about, happily ever after, some Prince Charming coming to save you and all that crap, right? So I grew up on all of this, Little Mermaid, you name it. And it wasn't helping that even movies were always putting this kind of like perception where somebody has to come save you, someone has to love you. If you give more love, you will get more in return. I would quickly learn, well, not quickly because it took me like almost 40 years to realize that that's not true because love, yes, you might have it in you, doesn't mean that because you love other people, they're gonna love you back. And I'll give you some life experiences to back this up. So if you're not new to this channel and you've watched some of my past videos, you know I've talked about my experiences with friendships, relationships, and even family, siblings, and realizing that these things formed who I was becoming and formed the kind of relationships I had because it starts from home. You know that thing they say charity begins at home? Yeah, it makes sense because love begins at home, and it's the kind of love that you receive at home that you start to seek on the outside. Now my parents, love them to death because they taught me love. I always knew that I had love in me, but growing up with the kind of siblings I grew up with where my love had to be earned, like getting love had to be earned. I had to do something to be able to get like a sliver of attention or care or love, or if I wanted to just go off and do my own thing, I became a bad sister. Basically, it formed how I started to love people, and it became a thing where I was always giving more love than I was ever receiving, and I thought the more I gave love, probably one day I will get it back. No, that never happened. If anything, it made sure that I was used, abused, and misused, basically, because nobody was really, you cannot, I think I saw that quote recently, like a year ago. It said, you can't love someone into loving you. And I wish I'd seen that quote many years ago. It would have really helped me realize that I was wasting my time trying to love other people harder, who were abusing me, who were, manipulating me, gaslighting me, being narcissistic to me. If I had known that, see, that's not my problem for them to fix whatever is wrong with them. Me loving them wasn't going to make them love me. But I didn't know that. I didn't know any better. I didn't have all the tools that I now have that I'm using to be a better person for myself. So it shaped how I also went into friendships and relationships. I had friends who never liked me, and I could tell, but I felt like if I could just love them some more and show them how great they are, maybe they would return that love to me. It didn't happen. It didn't, no. And because I have so much love in me to give, I didn't see anything wrong in loving or over loving the next person, because I just felt like, God has commanded us to love, right? So let me love this person wholeheartedly, give them all of me, in hopes that one day they will give me, I don't know, a sliver of them. Never happened. Mm-mm. I remember this particular day in 2023. I was so sad. I couldn't, look at people around me and count like 5 people on my finger that I could go like, they genuinely cared about me and, wanted the best for me. And I remember I recorded this, I like to record, like when I'm journaling, I like to like record how I'm feeling. And I remember that I recorded a voice note talking about how I wish I could get at least 25% of the love I give out back. Like, I'm not even asking for 50 because I don't think there are people that can love me on the same level as I love, that 25% is great. That's to tell you how little I was getting back. I was able to get 5% back. It was so bad that I realized that I had given so much of me for so many years to so many people. I never got anything back. The only times they showed me any form of love was if it was love bombing. And it would take me a while to realize that even friendships can love bomb you. But because you don't really, unless you've really experienced it and you've researched it and you understand what love bombing is, you would not realize that that's what they're doing. You would actually think that, they care about you. I had this friend that would literally disappear on me for like a year or two, and then she'll come back out of nowhere, only pretending like she wants to check up on me, but just end up talking for the next 2 hours, 3 hours about herself and all the shit, all the drama she's been going through and everything. And I'll realize that after that phone call, I'm drained. I'm weak, I'm tired, I'm lethargic. Then I didn't know anything about energy vampires. I didn't even know that your friends could be energy vampires. And it would take me having to notice my leg always swelling up after long conversations with this person on the phone. And I'm like, why am I feeling worse off when I speak to my friend, And I had to go within, I had to speak to God, and I realized, oh shit, this person is just using me. Just using my energy, I thought this person loved me because anytime, I get around this person and we hang out, she'll do the most, she'll want to make sure that I'm well taken care of. I didn't know bitch was paying for my energy. And she wasn't even paying anything worth a damn, And this was an on and on friendship that went on for almost 12 years. I had to end it. I had to end it because this was someone that I was even already telling everyone I was a bestie. Like, okay. And that's another thing. That's another way friendships would love bomb you. They would literally, you've not, both of you haven't had that discussion. You haven't gotten to the level of we're that close, and next thing they're calling you bestie. You should be careful. Okay, so I had to get my glasses on because I've been having some eye issues of late. I don't know if it's the old age or something, but I get this like tension headaches if I don't wear my glasses. And I thought I could shoot this without them, but yeah. Anyways, I still look cute, so that's all that matters, right? Now, because I grew up on so much fairy tale love and what have you, when it came to my intimate relationships, I always thought that I had to be the fixer-upper. I had to be with someone who needed fixing, broken bird who needs their wings fixed, and I had to nurse them back to life. And when I nursed them back to life, they would then return that love to me. Oh my God, I blame Nollywood, Bollywood, and definitely Hollywood for all that kind of dumb ass thinking. When you have the likes of Neo singing songs like "Let Me Love You Until You Learn to Love Yourself," Tony Braxton on "Break My Heart," you listen to all those love songs and it shapes your love life basically, especially when you've never had that first-hand love experience from an intimate partner. I've talked about my first relationship, I think in either the last or second to last video, where I literally was dating a narcissist who verbally abused me the entire period of the relationship while simultaneously love bombing me. That was my introduction to relationships with men. I never knew what real love was from a man, even though I watched my father love my mom every day, but I just felt, well, everybody's love style is different. True, but why wasn't I trying to emulate the good things of their relationship and look for that in someone else? Why was I taking the lessons they were learning and thinking, okay, I had to go through the same thing? That's why growing up, actually, shapes the kind of relationships you get into, no matter how you try to deny it. I realized that those who always have healthy relationships is because they were surrounded by healthy relationships. And those who don't have healthy relationships were surrounded by unhealthy relationships. But we try to ignore all of this and we push it down and we act like none of this shit affects us. That's a lie. That's a lie. It affects. Everything you do affects you. It affects you from your childhood to your teenage, adolescent years, and even as an adult. Way worse as an adult, because now you've been formed into certain behaviors and characters, and you believe that this is it. That's what life is. This was meant to be. I know people who, because maybe they had one or two bad relationships in high school, decided they're never going to love again. And this is mostly guys that do this a lot. And then they go about breaking hearts, settling in mediocre relationships with people they can't stand, or they are later on resentful towards, and then they blame love. Love did not hurt you. People hurt you. How about you deal with that feeling, which probably stems from your parents or your siblings, and you've carried it on into being an adult, and you blame, adolescents. Like, let's be for real. How many teenagers know what love is? How many teenagers know how to be emotionally intelligent and behave and know what they're doing? That was why when I was in high school, I never dated. Anybody that ever asked me out, I used to ask them, what dating are we dating? They thought I was crazy. I mean, they were onto something. But I'm just saying, like, it never made sense to me in high school to be in a relationship. Especially back then when we didn't have malls or fun places to go hang out. So like, what? I see you Monday to Friday, sometimes maybe even on Sunday if we attend the same church. Because back then, we used to go to church. And I'm like, what exactly are we dating? So we're hanging out, we're making out, you're probably trying to cover fail, and that's us dating. Because I already read a lot of books on relationships growing up, which is kind of weird because I still ended up doing stupid shit in relationships. But I'm just saying, I knew what a real relationship should look and feel like. Doesn't mean I didn't try to still, find out for myself. And I did. I did find out. And I realized that I was loving people the wrong way, and I was giving out love all willy-nilly, trying to make them love me because I didn't feel loved inside. I didn't feel the love I was giving. It would take me almost 40 years to realize that I was meant to give myself that love I was giving out all willy-nilly. And when I give myself that love, then the love that I deserve in friendship, in family, in relationship will find me, would align with me. But I didn't know that. I didn't know any better. And I'm sure that there are people like me watching this that can relate, because you've been in that really bad relationship where the person keeps treating you like shit, no respect, but just because they know how to love bomb you just right, and you see the potential, those of us that fall in love with potential, oh my God, I'm so glad God has delivered me from that. Like, I can see your potential, but that don't mean I gotta be with you. I can love you and leave you without any, regrets, without any, wanting to come back or thinking maybe I made a mistake. No. Because I've gotten to the point where I've loved myself so much that there's nothing or no one that can come deceive me or think they can deceive me, lie to me, try to manipulate me and make me act out of character and start maybe even trying to chase them. I say this all the time. I don't chase. I am too fat. Only thing I'll be chasing is a food truck, and even then, that food truck has to have like the best fried chicken on it, okay? There is no way, there is no human being born of man that I would ever chase. Do you understand? I don't even exercise. So what makes you think I want to chase you? Ugh. When you ask yourself, okay, what really is self-love, right? Because people talk about this all the time. Self-love, yeah, I love myself. Oh, self-care, self-love, spa day, it's not all that aesthetic bullshit. Like, there's nothing wrong in spoiling yourself, going to the spa, taking a day off, doing some soak and meditation in the house and just chilling. That's great. But that isn't the real work of self-love. Self-love is literally, just picture this. All the attention, love, care, planning you put into intimate relationships. Now imagine you do all of that, but for yourself. You take yourself on dates. You get to know yourself intimately. And I'm not just talking physically, but yes, you should get to know yourself intimately that way. It's part of self-love. Don't let nobody be telling you some doomsday bullshit about how you're gonna go to hell. Sweetie, it's all lies, but we're not gonna get into that today. You get to love yourself wholly and completely. Get to know yourself. Because when you're on dates with somebody, you're trying to get to know them, right? Someone you're in a relationship with, you're trying to get to know them so you can know how to love them right. How about you get to know yourself so you know how to love yourself right? You know how to take yourself out. You know how to treat yourself. Because when you love yourself, you start to respect yourself, and you can easily and quickly notice who is disrespecting you. There's some disrespect that is veiled, but you would only notice it after you've done the inner work and you actually love yourself. I didn't realize this for a long time, that there were a lot of people in my life disrespecting me on the low. I made excuses for them because I hadn't gotten to love myself to the point where I could notice that's not how I want to be loved. That's not how I deserve to be loved. And I'm not just talking intimate relationships, I'm talking friendships, I'm talking work, I'm talking, family. I realized, no, that's not the love I desire in my space, in my life, especially at this point of my life. And I started to distance myself from people, places, things that were not loving me the way I deserve to be loved. Yes, it gets a little bit, I won't say lonely, because let's be for real, if you know me, I love my solitude. I love being by myself, like a little too much. I do. But there's some times where you just want to like call up someone and just like, talk without having any, how do I put it? Any filters, basically. You just want to talk to someone, or get them listen, and back and forth, basically give and take. But at the beginning of this self-love journey, you wouldn't have that, because you have to be that person for yourself that you can talk to, be honest with, be accountable to, until you get to the point where there's a balance in your relationship with self. Then you can then start to think, okay, who else can I invite into this beautiful bubble of love? And when I started to do this, I realized that the friendships I've cultivated now are friendships I know that would do the long distance, because it's not codependent relationships. These are people that are independently secure in their own lives, their own love. They are happy outside of the relationship that we have. So when we actually, get together, and it's not physically, because let's be honest, we're all the same. We don't like to go out, we don't like to hang, but it's good when we get to talk, when we get to just, catch up and educate ourselves on things, or even help each other out. Maybe there's like a business opportunity here and there. Those are the kind of friendships I always wanted to cultivate. But I realized that in the past, the friendships I had, I was the one always coming up with the business ideas. I was the one always coming up with ways that we could join forces to make, money and take over the world and all that shit. And I realized that they would always turn on me and make it feel like I'm doing the most, or make me do all the work, while they sit down and take all the glory, basically. And I'm like, yeah, that don't work for me. I want a partnership in every regard. Family, friendship, relationship. It's something where it's a give and take, that the energy I'm giving is getting back. But this is not with me trying to force it. It has to be symbiotic. It has to happen on its own. And it will take me a while to realize that I was the one that had to do the inner work first. Because when you really, really go deep within yourself and you love yourself, you wouldn't want to give yourself basic bitch shit. Like, no. You would want premium shit. You would, yes, let them call you high maintenance. Let them say you're too much. Let them say you're doing the most. Remember, you are the star in this movie called life. Your own star, main character, every day. Now, just because you're the main character doesn't mean you should become, egotistical, pig-headed, and start acting foolish. No. The main character always knows when to leave, knows when to, take a bow, knows when to give space for the other characters to shine. That's what being a main character is. Understanding who you are and representing that person to the fullest. And everything around you will just align. Because as you know, if you're spiritual or you've heard it before, as above, so below, as within, so without, as the universe, so the soul. So basically, it is everything that happens inside that starts to, actually show in your real life. If you truly love yourself, the world will love you. And by the world, I'm not saying everybody's gonna like you. Self-love gives you the point where if people don't like you, people say shit about you, people talking trash about you, you really don't care. In fact, you don't care. Some of them really, you don't care. Because you know you. It's like when you're in a relationship with someone you love and loves you back, right? And someone comes around, a hating motherfucker tries to sell you some like, oh, I saw your person doing so. Oh, it's so disgusting. He's a cheat, is this, is that. They tell you lies, right? If you didn't know your person and y'all were intimate, so close, so bonded together, that will shake the foundation of that relationship. You will start to listen to the outside noise instead of actually, going back home and going like, honey, I don't know who this crazy motherfucker was saying, this, that, and that, but I sent them on their way. And your partner will laugh about it like, man, that's fucked up. Like, you already know my schedule. I'm like, yeah, babes, I know you. Like, that's when the relationship is symbiotic, it's balanced, you're both, centered in each other. And I'm not saying that human beings cannot switch up on you or whatnot, but when it's a relationship that is founded on love, the godly love, the high vibrational love, because you are so into each other, there's telepathy, so you can both read each other's minds. There's that intuitive knowing, so you would always know when someone is telling you bullshit or trying to sell you bullshit, or even if it's just the voices in your head trying to tell you crap, because that happens a lot to people when they've gone through so much trauma and they've refused to heal from it, and they're in a healthy relationship and the voices in their head are telling them that person playing you. I always say, when you want to know which is your gut feeling and which is assurance, you feel it in your heart if it's assurance, those flutters. But if you're feeling it in your solar plexus, your gut, then that's a warning sign. I'm just saying, once you get to know yourself, really love yourself, you'll be able to know all these things, you'll be able to figure them out before they get to you, before they mess with your mind. Do not believe that until you get into a loving relationship before you love yourself. Neo lied, baby. Neo lied. Nobody is going to love you till you learn to love yourself. So how about you love yourself first? Get to know yourself. Be intimate with yourself. Because these are things that nobody taught me. I had to learn on my own. That's why it took longer. But now you have me telling you. It's easy to do this. I mean, I'm not saying like the journey is going to be easy. But I'm saying when you start it, you realize that, oh, this is great. I love this. I want to be this person. And it would, like, your self-respect will be so high. Nobody can mess with you. And when I say nobody, I mean nobody. And then you'll be able to go for the things you always wanted. That dream job, you would see that you're worth it. You will go for it. That dream career, dream business, you stop doubting yourself because you know you can do it. You've done the inner work, you already know who you are. And then you go get it. I'm just saying, stop limiting yourself. Start being the best you can be. And it starts from you loving yourself. Now, before I wrap this up, I just wanted to announce, quick announcement. I recently became a certified holistic life coach and transformational guide, basically. And as you can tell from my channel, this is something I have been doing without even being certified yet. But now it's official. I have my certificate. I can finally start helping others grow, glow, and flow, in this life that we're in. So if you are someone who is interested in this, you should subscribe to my channel. You should always watch the videos. Go watch the older videos too. You can also even see my growth from when I started this YouTube channel to now. You can see that there's a lot that has changed about me, not just physically, but even in the way I talk, speak, and the things I say, and things I've learned along the way. And you can see that I practice it every day. I haven't officially started charging or put out my website business or anything out there, but during this period while I'm growing the business, if you are interested in starting your journey to healing, self-growth, change, spirituality, and you need a guide, you need someone that can talk you through it, I will drop my email in the description below. You can send me an email. Let's have a chit chat. Let's talk. And also click the link to my music. Because yes, I dropped an EP in July on my 40th birthday. It's called While I Set the Mood, because as I say, I am a mood. So how about you go run up my old tracks too. Give me some streams, baby. Add it to your playlist, baby. And let the Lord bless you, baby. So beautiful souls, until we meet again, may you walk in love, rise in truth, and shine as your highest self. And remember, the best rhythm is the one your soul always dances to. Stay glowing, stay loving you, Ashe.